This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
I talk to hundreds of enterprise leaders a year, and do you know what kills most AI projects? Teams can't experiment without IT freaking out about production risks. That's where Area comes in. They built a secure sandbox environment where your teams can prototype, test different models, and even run A/B tests between agents, all before anything touches production. Drag and drop interface works with any AI model you choose, and when you're ready, you move to production on the same platform. So check out today's show notes or see our website for a free trial of Area. Go to AIRIA.com because innovation needs a safe place to fail fast. Google's NotebookLM has quietly turned into a legit juggernaut. Yes, it was a viral and fun tool in 2024 when Google rolled out the Deep Dive Audio Overview podcast feature. But NotebookLM has actually been one of Google's most updated platforms over the past year. And yeah, they obviously have dozens. And I think that these newest features that we're going to be going over today are starting to push NotebookLM over the edge from personal productivity second brain to absolute necessity for growing teams. So on today's shows, we're bringing you the 8 new NotebookLM updates from November that you should be using. All right, I'm excited for today's show. I hope you are too. Let's get into it. Welcome to Everyday AI. My name is Jordan Wilson. I'm the host, and well, we do this thing for you. You actually voted for this episode, not me. But Everyday AI, if you're new here, this is a daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday business leaders like you and me not just keep up with what's happening in the world of AI, but how we can use all this to grow our companies and our careers. So if you are new here, it starts here with the unedited, unscripted live stream podcast, but to take it to the next level, our website is where it's at, youreverydayai.com. We're going to be highlighting the main points from today's episode, as well as all of the other AI news that you need to know to be the smartest person in your company when it comes to AI. So let's get straight to it. Here's what we're going to go over on today's show. We're going to quickly recap the 8 NotebookLM features from, well, late October and early November that you need to be paying attention to. I'm going to show you a demo of some of our newest features that I'm really personally enjoying. And then at the very end, I'm going to share 5 new NotebookLM use cases that weren't even possible before. So whether you're a student or sit in the C-suite, there's going to be some use cases that are now available that weren't previously. All right, so let me start here. You need to repost this show. I'm just going to say this, y'all. If you didn't get our Everyday AI NotebookLM cookbook the last time, you missed out. The people that I shared this with, they were like, wait, this is absolutely changing how I do work. So if you are listening on the podcast, check the show notes. We always put a link to the LinkedIn live stream. So go repost today's show on LinkedIn, and I will share with you the Everyday AI NotebookLM cookbook. It is literally the complete guide. I don't know probably many people in the world who spend more time on NotebookLM aside from me. I'm constantly chatting with the Google team with feedback, suggestions, going back and forth. I use it all the time. And this is the one thing that is going to help you get started. We're not going to do a basic overview today of NotebookLM, but you're just going to want to go repost that show. Let's get straight to the 8 updates. All right. Number 8, the ability to view the custom prompt for deep dive reports, anything custom. Number 7, chat history on by default. That's big. Number 6, having goal-based customization available to all users where you can set a specific goal, voice, or role for the chat. Then we have number 5, privacy controls. This is great for teams. Chat history can be deleted, and in shared notebooks, the chat view is only visible to each individual user. Number 4, you can import Google Sheets inside of NotebookLM. This is what I've been asking for a long time, so I'm glad the team finally made this available. Number 3, NotebookLM now uses Gemini's full 1 million token context. That is big, right? Number 2, the mobile app got a ton of new updates that just finished rolling out to 100% of new users yesterday. So these are hot off the presses. So quizzes and flashcards are available on mobile. That's big. And then last but not least, Nano Banana. The visuals are here in the video overview. So we're going to be going over those 6 a little bit more, talking about what they mean, how they work, all that good stuff. But this is Wednesday. Our Wednesday show is putting AI to work on Wednesday. So I'm going to be going over some practical use cases at the very end of the show, but also I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of these features. And this fall has been a straight up whirlwind for NotebookLM. So let me just say this. Maybe if you just use it, I don't know, once or twice a month, or maybe you haven't used NotebookLM in 6 months, you need to go back and use it. So aside from the 8 features that I just talked about, there's actually October and September. We did dedicated shows because there were so many good ones. So I'm just going to bullet point some of the highlights. So last month, the ability to customize chat responses and set the tone or style. There's also a new learning guide conversational style that asks users clarifying questions and kind of tests your understanding. There's a new feature to discover sources via Google Drive search. And we went over those and more in episode 627. And then there's the updates from September. So there we saw custom reports, which was a huge one, right? So you can set the structure, tone, and language. There's different dynamic templates. So yeah, reports are a big part of NotebookLM. Flashcards and quizzes debuted in September on desktop. And like I said, as of yesterday, they're now 100% rolled out to mobile as well. That's great. You can kind of, generate these great quizzes to kind of drill yourself with feedback from your sources. And then the audio overview, new formats, which are great. So up until September, there was only the deep dive. Now there's the brief, the critique, and the debate, and also customizable length and tone for the standard deep dive. So yeah, all the AI podcast that went super viral now more than a year ago. Now there's a lot different formats as well as customization for the deep dive, kind of the OG of the NotebookLM audio overviews. All right, and we went over those updates in 608. So if you want to know more about that, especially the reports, so much new and so many new capabilities, if I'm being honest, that are possible now with the custom reports that weren't possible before. All right, so let's look live. Like I said, if you're new here, most Wednesdays, we do what's called putting AI to work at Wednesday, which is usually going over a new update or feature or a new mode, right, from either ChatGPT, Google, Microsoft Copilot, or Claude. We kind of stick to the big 4. Every once in a while, we'll venture off and do one other thing. But on Wednesdays, it is practical, getting to work, hands-on, doing demos. So things go wrong in demos sometimes, just FYI. So I'm going to be sharing my screen here in a second. But I do want to tell people, if you are absolutely brand new to NotebookLM, make sure you actually go watch our last episode, because we also did a complete walkthrough. So episode 627, we did a complete walkthrough. I'm not going to do that today, but what I will tell you, maybe you're a first-time NotebookLM user, and you might be saying like, okay, what's the big deal aside from this audio overview thing? One word: grounding. Okay, so right now I'm sharing in live stream audience. If you could let me know if you can see my screen, that would be great. But what I'm sharing right now is a notebook that I used. So for the show on Tuesday, yesterday, our Hot Take Tuesday show, I put together a NotebookLM notebook, as I do for almost all of my episodes. It helps me better prepare, get my notes together, right? Just a way for me to interact and learn a little bit better. But grounding, here's what's very important, right? So right now, this is about the show from yesterday, the Apple partnering with Google, and by partnering, paying them $1 billion to use their AI, right? So I have all these sources here on the left-hand side, all about Apple and Google's partnership, right? So if I go ask this NotebookLM in the middle, and I say, tell me about 5 features of ChatGPT, and I hit enter, what's probably going to happen here as I give it a second to respond. It's looking through all my sources on the left-hand side that I add individually. Okay, this maybe wasn't the best example because there's actually some in those sources. It's comparing Gemini and ChatGPT on a couple of things. So not the best example. Let me do this. Let me say, when was the last time the Cubs won the World Series? All right. So now it's going to come back and probably say, yo, can't help you with that. There we go. So it says the sources provided focus exclusively on the reported partnership between Apple and Google. So this is an example, the world's simplest and most basic example of what grounding is, right? So it's always NotebookLM is going to ground its answers in my sources. So when you go and start a new notebook, you can't even talk with NotebookLM. And NotebookLM is powered by Gemini 2.5. All right, so you don't get the full features, benefits, but also sometimes downsides of Gemini 2.5, right? Hallucinations happen in every single large language model. They are very, very less likely inside of NotebookLM because it grounds everything in your sources, right? Hallucinations can still happen, but that's the big benefit. And I always like to start there whenever I'm going over NotebookLM because it is unique in that way. There are some ways that you can get some grounding capabilities now in Google Gemini, especially on the business side, ChatGPT on their business plan. But for the most part, it's not always that easy, and you have to really know what you're doing. By default, NotebookLM only works with what you give it. So, when you do add a source, you can do that in the upper left-hand corner. So you can add you can upload files. You can upload, your company's PDF documents, your SOPs. You can upload, call recordings, MP3s, documents, right? You can also connect Google Workspace files. You can bring in website pages directly, YouTube videos, or just copy and paste text, right? So you are essentially building the foundation for NotebookLM. And this is why you create many different notebooks, right? Whereas in ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Copilot or whatever, you create new chats, but it's using essentially the same knowledge. It's the training data. It goes off and it queries the web, and sometimes that can be a bad thing. All right. So let's go over some of the new features from November. One that I didn't even mention, very small one, but I really like it. So all of the panels are resizable. So in NotebookLM, if you're listening on the podcast, this might be one of those. Go watch the video version on our website, youreverydayai.com. All right. So the good thing I like, the panels have always been collapsible, but now they're resizable, which is really nice. So small quality of life thing, but you can drag the sources panel on the left, and then the studio panel on the right. And then in theory, when you do that, it also changes the middle panel, which is the chat panel. And that is where you talk with NotebookLM. All right. So you have your sources on the left, your chat panel in the middle, where you are chatting with NotebookLM powered by Gemini 2.5. And then on the right-hand side, you have your studio. That's where you create your audio overview, video overview, mind maps, reports, flashcards, quizzes, and more things coming soon. All right, so let's go over a couple of the new things. One is just the ability to resize columns, something simple. One I've been loving since it dropped, the ability to add in spreadsheets. All right, so to do that, very simple. In sources, you just go to add, then you select Google Drive. All right, and then I'll just go click this. This is a spreadsheet that I have just for YouTube stats. I click enter, and it brings it in automatically. And then the great thing is with any source, but it also works with spreadsheets, which is really nice. I can click it. It's going to automatically resize it a little bit, and I can actually see it converts it to kind of like plain text here. So I can make sure and understand that it brought everything in correctly. The columns and the rows are all matched up. I can see it right within NotebookLM. So it's not like you are going to enter in, 50, 100 spreadsheets and then be like, okay, hopefully it's reading it right. Hopefully, right? Because large language models can get things wrong. So you can actually click on the spreadsheet and see that it brought in everything correctly. All right. So that is one of the new features for November. The other one is being able to set the goals. So how you do that is in the middle column. You go to the chat column, and then there is the configure configure notebook option. So in the middle, it's kind of the toggle or the option slider. And where that is now, you'll see it says notebooks can be customized to help you achieve different goals. I can click custom right there. And then, give it a goal or say, hey, my goal in this notebook is to ABC. And then I can also tell it how I want to respond, as well as set the response length. All right. Another one here which is great for me, being able to view the custom prompts. So let me tell you what I mean. So as an example, if I want to create a report, I can click on report, and then I can click create your own, and I can create a great report. So let's just say, as an example, think with me here. Let's say you work in HR and you have a bunch of onboarding documents, right? Like 20 onboarding documents, hundreds of pages. You can go in and create a custom report for maybe marketing team in North America, right? And it turned out really, really well. Oh, but then the marketing team in Europe, they want something, but there's some different things, right? There's some privacy rules that are different. The team reporting structure is a little different. And you're like, oh, what did I use for that prompt to get the one? Well, before you were kind of screwed unless you saved it, but now it's very easy. So both in anything that you're using a custom prompt in, whether that's reports, you can do it in quizzes, you can do it in flashcards, you can do it in audio overview or video overview. So now on the right-hand side, if you so on the studio at the bottom, you'll see every single kind of piece of media that you've created. So as an example, this was a podcast that I created with my source material before I did my podcast, right? So I can go here and click the three dots on the right-hand corner and then click View Custom Prompt. So this is huge, especially if you have a notebook that you go back to often. If you're using NotebookLM to create educational resources for your team, or even if you're like, oh, wow, I remember creating, an audio overview a couple of weeks ago that worked really well, and now I can't get a new topic to produce an audio overview that well. Well, you can now go back and see your custom prompt, and then I can go and just click the copy button and reuse it. All right. So small thing, but big benefits. All right. And then last but not least, the Nano Banana visuals. All right. So let's go ahead. I did already generate a video. I wasn't going to make everyone wait because the videos can, now that they're powered by Nano Banana, downside, they can take a little longer. Upside, they are bonkers good. All right, so I'm going to play just a couple portions of this one. So this is an explainer video that I created. So I'm going to go ahead. So our live stream audience can see just the cover is so good, right? It says Apple's $1 billion AI gamble. And it has this nice illustration. It's the Apple logo, right? There's this kind of arrow with an X over it, this little chip icon. So essentially saying like, hey, Apple couldn't get it done. And then there's an arrow, the Apple icon, it has a thinking bubble and it's like, oh, I have an idea. Let me hire Google. Let me give Google $1 billion. And then there's the Google logo with a brain over it in Gemini AI. Such a good visual, right? So I'm going to play and
all right, let's dive right in.
And if you haven't used these video overviews, you should. All right, I'm going to scroll through some of these. I mean, look at this. So this is a nice visual here. It says, why is Apple paying its biggest rival with biggest rival highlighted in yellow, $1 billion to fix Siri? Again, a lot of corresponding visuals. There's a couple others. I have a screenshot here I'm going to share with you guys in a little bit. But here we go. Here's another one. It made charts, charting Google Gemini's parameters, 1.2 trillion versus Apple's model, which was 120 billion parameters, right? So it literally pulled different elements from my notes from other sources, and it's creating literal labeled visuals. Right. So good. So Nano Banana is Google's, if you haven't heard, that is their Gemini 2.5 Flash image model, also just now known as Nano Banana. And it is the leading image editing AI tool in the world, according to LM Arena. So it is extremely powerful, and just the capabilities, right? I use these these AI videos a ton. And I have since. So originally they were being powered by, I believe, Google's Imagine AI model. And it's not like they were bad, but sometimes I would get, certain slides and I'm like, this doesn't really make sense. But it's like, okay, who am I? Right. Like the fact that this technology even exists, it's like beggars can't be choosers. But now it's, yeah, you can, because this is number one, free, right? But it just makes, for me, it makes learning so much more impactful when each visual inside of this video is just on point like a friggin' decimal. It is so good. Right. That's why, hey, you just might want to go check the video out on this one. And I'll probably share the actual video that this created in today's newsletter. So make sure you go check that out as well. All right. So let's get back and go over a couple more things here. Actually, let's first take a quick break for me to take a sip and for a quick word from our sponsors.
It's a problem I hear all the time. The gap between the AI champions and everyone else in your organization is sizable. You might have half a team that wants to fine-tune models by hand, and the other half doesn't know what an API is. How do you get them working together on AI that moves the needle without creating a security nightmare? That's where Area really shines. They built one platform with 3 ways to work. Your developers can go full pro code and build custom agents with Python. Your business analysts can use the low-code tools, or your domain experts who've never coded, they can use the drag and drop no-code builder. Everyone's building in the same secure governed environment. No shadow IT, no security gaps, and because they're model agnostic, you're not locked into one vendor's ecosystem with Area. You can even A/B test different agents against each other, try different models, and when you're ready, deploy to production on the same platform. Your AI strategy should unite your team, not divide them. Check out Area in today's show notes or on our website for a free trial. Go to airia.com. Get rid of the AI gap and move forward with a more resilient AI ecosystem.
All right, so let's quickly dive into a little bit more depth on these 8 features. If I didn't already go over them, if I did go over them, I'm not going to go into them in too much more depth. But the first one here is the ability to view the custom prompt. So like I said, where you're going to get this is if you go to your studio for something that you've already created. All you do is you find it, you find the 3 little dots, and then that's going to bring a drop-down menu and then the view custom prompt. And again, this is big because if you're not super organized, that's me sometimes, right? I actually use NotebookLM to be organized, but sometimes I'm not very organized within NotebookLM. This is a great way to go back on, some of your reports, deep dives, videos, etc., that you've created custom, see what worked well, go grab that custom prompt and reuse it. 7, chat. That was number 8. So then number 7, the chat history on by default. Small thing, huge, right? And this is something that a lot of people didn't understand at first about NotebookLM, right? You add in all your sources. On Monday you go in and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I love the grounding of NotebookLM. And then you exit out. And then Tuesday you go back and you're like, wait, everything's gone, right? That's how it worked before. You had to save any conversation, each individual response from NotebookLM. You had to save it as a note. All right. And then you could also save the note as a source, right? But it essentially put it on your studio on the right-hand side. So it worked a little different than a traditional AI chatbot, right? Normally, you're like, oh, okay, well, if I chatted with ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Copilot yesterday, right, it should be there today. That's not how NotebookLM worked. Now it does. It sounds simple, right? Although I don't see this on all of my workspace accounts. So this might be something at the admin level for workspace, but on my personal accounts, I do see this enabled by default. So it might be a setting kind of buried somewhere in the admin settings inside Google, but just chat history on by default. It seems like, oh, okay, duh. But y'all, like NotebookLM was not created to be an all-encompassing AI chatbot juggernaut. But now it kind of is, right? So I like kind of these slight pivots, maybe away from the original vision of what the team wanted to use NotebookLM for. And they're probably saying like, wait, everyone wants this. So it's great. And it just improves, obviously, the multi-turn performance. Number 6, already went over this, but the goal-based customization, this is great, right? Yes, it's kind of like having custom instructions inside every chat in ChatGPT, which you don't have, right? You can set that at the project level, but share more and more context. Use this. I think a lot of people are just using this um, to tell NotebookLM how to respond. Right? Either be long and funny, be short and serious, right? But give it a goal. Tell it who you are and what you're trying to do. So this is essentially NotebookLM's version of custom instructions. Number 5, this is big for teams, right? That's the other thing. NotebookLM can be shared across your organization. Just such, right? When you talk about the lowest hanging fruit in generative AI, that's it right there, right? Nope. Being able to share NotebookLM across your organization, my gosh, like hang up on this podcast right now and go do that. But before, the privacy controls weren't that great. And it seemed like sometimes the chat history could be shared, even if you maybe didn't want it to, right? So now the chat history can be deleted. And in shared notebooks, the chat is only visible to the individual user who was using it that way. So it seemed like before, maybe it was supposed to be a feature, and maybe it kind of turned out to be a bug, but regardless, some new privacy controls that just rolled out. Number 4, already showed this live, being able to import Google Sheets inside NotebookLM. Love this. Downside though, it seems like there's a strict file limit. I didn't test it very in a detailed way, but I had a spreadsheet that was 1.3 megabytes, so not huge, right? I have spreadsheets that are hundreds of megabytes, and it couldn't bring in one that was 1.3. So I'm guessing the limit is probably a megabyte or under to work, which for most people, right, it's not going to be a problem. But if you have heavy spreadsheets, heavy Google Sheets, it might be too big. So I am going to be reaching out to the team because I actually just found that limitation, which I think actually might be a bug because 1 megabyte is actually kind of small. So we'll see if that is improved. I'm sure it will. Number 3, the 1 million token context. This is big, right? So I'm going to read this from Google's blog post here announcing these features. So it says, more seamless and natural conversations. We have significantly expanded NotebookLM's processing capabilities, conversation context, and history. Starting today, we're enabling the full 1 million token context window of Gemini in NotebookLM chat across all plans, significantly improving our performance when analyzing large document collections. Plus, we've increased our capacity for multi-turn conversation more than 6-fold, so you can get more coherent and relevant results over extended interactions. So yeah, I was actually, number 1, great. Number 2, I was kind of confused by this because I was under the assumption that NotebookLM had that level of context window previously because it was powered by Gemini 2.5. But it seems like it defaulted to a lower context window. But now it's good to know that it does have the full 1 million token context window in a chat program. I don't know if anyone else aside from now Google has that, right? People see these oh yeah, million token context window for Claude or whatever. Well, no, that's usually in the API, never in the chat, right? I mean, you can't even use Claude chat. I did demos on here before 2 weeks ago. I tried to do a single prompt. It was, multi-step agentic, but a single prompt, and it tore through the chat window, right? 1 million token context window inside of a free tool that's grounded, y'all. This is so good and so powerful. It's silly. So I am glad that Google clarified that and put it out there in the wild for everyone to know. Number 2, the mobile app. This is big. Here's a little secret into my life. Sometimes my brain won't turn off. People are always like, Jordan, how do you do a daily podcast? It seems like you're well-researched, right? It seems like you're on your toes. You can answer questions. How do you do it? Well, number 1, I should sleep more. Number 2, NotebookLM, right? I'd say it's like one of my secrets, but I talk about it all the time, right? They're one of the advertisers for this podcast, right? You hear it all the time. But one thing that I was kind of like, man, I wish it was better, is the mobile capabilities were kind of not that great up until like September. But this most recent one, which again just dropped to all users this week, having the quizzes and flashcards available on mobile is big, because a lot of times I'm up at night and I'm like, oh man, I got to prepare, or, do I actually know this piece on the show well enough for tomorrow? Or if I'm interviewing, right? A lot of times I'm interviewing, like CEOs of public companies, and I have to be able to ask them very relevant and hopefully into halfway intelligent questions, right? I love using the flashcard and quizzes just like I did back in the day, right? Like 8-year-old Jordan, literally, I would just make flashcards probably when I was younger. I was a dork, right? I loved flashcards. I would make them all the time. I think even for like basketball stats, right? I would just make flashcards. I love memorizing facts. It's a little harder now because I feel like learn so much new every day because of AI. I forget more than ever. But this is great. Having that on mobile, because sometimes that's when I really do my best work, is like, all right, well, I'm in bed. I can't sleep, but I have no other distractions, right? Throughout the day, I have distractions all the time. When I'm in bed, if I can't sleep and I look at my phone, there's no distractions. I'm zoned in. So now I love having the quizzes and flashcards available on mobile. Have a little screenshot there, really clean, looks nice. The answer to that is 1 billion, by the way, right? The Apple AI quiz. And then last but not least, the Nano Banana visuals. All right, they're already rolled out to the video overviews, and there's also 6 different preset styles, right? That they all use Nano Banana. So it's not like, oh, you're looking for Nano Banana as a preset, right? There's whiteboard, there's anime, there's, all these different styles that you can select, but the actual visuals are built with Nano Banana. And I already showed you guys a couple. Here's one that I really liked from the Apple and Google Gemini Siri paying $1 billion show from yesterday. This one's great. So it's kind of like a medieval-esque kind of style to it, but it has Apple and Apple, there's a gap, there's a cliff, right? There's a big drop off, and it's scary. It can't get across, but there's a bridge. Don't worry. But the bridge is Google logos, right? So if Apple needs to get to the other side, which is a castle with an Apple logo on it, the only way they can do it is the bridge of Google Gemini. Such a good, high quality visual that I kind of like chuckled, because I'm like, that's funny, right? It's funny, but it's just highly relevant, right? So Nano Banana is so good at being able to contextually grab the meaning behind your words, right? So things that you might not even know, even if it's something you write by hand, right? You might not even be able to create certain connections that Nano Banana is just fantastic at. So I can't underestimate how big of a level up that is for everyone. You should be using these video overviews. They are rich in context. And if you are a visual learner like me, it's going to be hard to go back. All right, here's what's coming next, and then we're going to wrap with our use cases. So there is an infographic feature that is going to be powered by Nano Banana that will be released sometime soon. The API, NotebookLM has confirmed that. We don't know if that's going to come this year, but like I said, there's going to be, I think, multiple million-dollar companies that literally are just using NotebookLM's API, and that's it. Also, some new updates. Some of these are rumored, some are confirmed, but custom video styles. So you'll be able to just describe it, not just having to choose from one of the 6. Deep research integration. Yes, I did confirm that directly with the NotebookLM lead, but they are bringing Gemini Deep Research into NotebookLM, as well as tables, artifacts, slides generation, and more. All right, so let's wrap with 5 new NotebookLM use cases that are available today that weren't available before some of these late October, early November updates. Ready? Here we go. And here's a timely one. College student, your midterm rescue. All right, so you can upload an entire semester of notes, documents, right? If you have your book in PDF form, and work with that 1 million context window, and essentially set a goal. Say you're a Socratic tutor, you ask questions, but you don't give answers, right? Be creative with how you use that goal section. Then you can generate mobile flashcards, right? So you can get it all set up on your desktop, and then you can generate mobile flashcards for your commute. And then you can, resume your chat history at the library. Those things were not possible before. And this takes maybe dozens of hours of work that you would have to do otherwise into like 30 minutes. Next use case, executive assistant, the CEO brain. So putting together a board packet, agenda sheet, past decisions, and again, tapping into that 1 million context window and as many Google Sheets as possible. Same thing, being able to generate mobile flashcards, CEO reviews between meetings, right? I think a lot of CEOs are always between meetings on their phone. That's a great thing, right? So if you're an executive assistant, if you work directly with a CEO, or if you are a CEO, you need to be doing this, right? Even for me, even though I'm on the computer a lot, I sometimes do my best work on the phone. So load everything in there and then set the goal, right? Hey, this is a board member asking tough questions for scenario prep. Again, hours of prep down to minutes. Next one, this, my salespeople, this is for you. Import your actual deal data, right? So if you're in Salesforce, whatever your CRM is, HubSpot, you can usually export it to a spreadsheet, bring those spreadsheets into Google Sheets, import those, and then set the goal. Skeptical CFO asking hard budget questions, as an example. And then the AI can role play your specific deal with real numbers that you import. So just new capacity right there, being able to practice on actual accounts, not just generic scenarios. Next, consultant proposal customization engine. So same thing here, import client RFPs, budget sheet, past work, anything, right? So many different modes that you can import. And then you can generate a deep dive report for each client. And then you can use that copy prompt, right? So if you're working on this over the course of 3 weeks, as an example, you can use the new chat history. You can use the view and copy custom prompt, and then you can, spit out different deep dive reports for all different clients. All right. And then we have our product manager interview analysis at scale. So let's just say that you're having to go over 200 user interviews. Well, whatever program you're using to collect all those applications, you can export it to spreadsheets. You can import all those spreadsheets, work with the new 1 million token context window, and then have multi-turn chats. Whenever you want to go in there, ask questions about which one is best. Which user did best on this. And you can also do something like, now show enterprise versus small business patterns. And it will remember the entire context. And then you can generate mobile flashcards. And again, cutting that time in half, maybe down to 20%. All right. So I hope this episode was helpful, putting AI to work on Wednesdays. And I will say this, you all wanted this. I put a poll in the show notes for the podcast. I put a poll on in our newsletter, and you all said you wanted to go over these new NotebookLM updates. So if you want, if I should be doing these updates for every single large language model, go ahead, leave a comment on the on this Spotify episode or on the live stream, and just say LLM. Right? If you want a monthly episode where I do this for all, at least the big four, right? Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude, let me know. I offered this up like 6 months ago. I always have an arbitrary number in my head, and we didn't hit it, right? A little short. So if you want that, let me know. Make your voice heard. I work for you. If it's not helpful, that's fine. But I hope today's show was helpful as we went over those 8 new updates in November that you need to be using. Like I said, I think that Google's NotebookLM is turning into a fully featured AI chatbot, and all the things that are coming along with it, right? All these rumors and leaks, and also confirmed plans for the future of NotebookLM. It is much more than just a tool to help you learn. Yes, it helps you learn better than any tool. The grounding is fantastic, but even just the features that we went over today, These are great for teams. These are great for, CEOs, board members, whatever it is. It is becoming more and more useful for more and more people and for teams. So you can't not pay attention to NotebookLM anymore. It's not just a cutesy little thing to generate AI podcasts. All right. And make sure, if you haven't already, repost this show on LinkedIn. Trust me, you are going to want that everyday AI NotebookLM cookbook. We've literally put all of our knowledge, all of our information into one helpful guide. So go repost this on LinkedIn. I'll share it. Literally, the feedback that I've gotten from people are like, "You're stupid for giving this away for free. You should be charging a lot of money for this." But I want to keep free, unbiased information available to everyone for as long as I can, but I need your help. I need you to share about this, tell people about this, because if you just keep everyday AI your little secret, we die, right? The only thing we can keep this thing going is if you share with people. So make sure you go share this episode. Then make sure you go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. I hope you are now putting AI to work more on Wednesdays, and I hope to see you tomorrow and every day for more everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
As someone that covers AI every day, no one knows which AI model will be best in 6 months. That's why betting everything on one vendor is dangerous. And that's why Aria can solve the LLM FOMO issue. They're completely model agnostic. Use GPT for one agent, Claude for another, your own fine-tune model for something else. Switch anytime without rewriting code. Their intelligent routing automatically sends requests to the right model based on your rules. Check out today's show notes or our website for a free trial of Aria. Go to airia.com because vendor lock-in is a terrible long-term bet.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.